hinging the spine versus flexing the spine. This video is not to discuss which one is better or worse. This video is just to discuss what each one is and to help you understand when you're doing either one and how to do either one correctly. So some movements will call for hinging the spine, whilst others will call for flexing the spine. Now, depending on what's going on with you and your unique body, one movement might be easier, one might be more difficult. There might be a reason for you to work on the more difficult one. There might also be a reason to ignore the more difficult one. Either way, I'm just here to help you understand which is which, and so that you know what you are consciously doing with your body so that you can consciously take charge of it. So let's talk first about the hinge movement. Now, the hinge movement features in things that you might hear or recognize, such as deadlifts, good mornings, and any form of lower body or squat movement. You are usually in a hip hinge scenario, okay? Now, hip hinging means that essentially my spine stays nice and straight, okay? And the movement comes only from my hip joint, meaning that from my tailbone all the way to my spine, we're moving as one lever, okay? It means that the hinge, the moving part, is only happening in my femur and my hip joint, all right? So where might we see the hinge movement? Well, we see the hinge movement in our good mornings, which is when we set ourselves up, soften through the knees, stick the tailbone back. My spine has stayed straight. It is just hinged, hence the name, forward. Now, in order to successfully hinge, most of us, all right, have to have a little bit of a bend in the knee, okay? We have to help the body create that angle. If I keep my knees locked and I go for a hinge, okay, I'm gonna get to wherever my range is, and then I'm gonna have no choice but to flex and bend through that spine, okay? However, if I release the knees and therefore release the ankles a little bit as well, send those hips back into a hinge, all of a sudden I have a lot more space and I can successfully hinge through my hips, okay? So when you're looking at doing things like good mornings, like deadlifts, any of those, you are looking at a hinging movement, okay? So let's talk flexing the spine. Now, I love to use roll downs in my routines. So you will often see me cueing a gorgeous roll down where you are bending and folding through that spine, okay? That movement is called flexing your spine. It's when the spine itself creates a new shape, okay? When that happens, again, it is pretty important that you allow the knees to bend if they need to, okay? Often we keep those knees locked. We are so drilled into thinking that that's the way to do it that we don't release them. Sometimes when we release them, we feel even more of a stretch through the body rather than less, but more importantly, it allows everything to move into the correct place and shape. So when might you use flexing of the spine? Now, in any form of roll down to the floor and roll back up, you're gonna feel the flexing of the spine is really, really necessary. So from here, I'm gonna drop my chin, round the shoulders, allow the spine to just peel over into that gorgeous ragdoll position. And then if I wanted to come back up, I would be doing the same thing. Now, this movement is really important to show that we still have pliability and flexibility in and around the spine. Where we see the lack of ability the most is when we are doing any form of lying down abdominal work. So, for example, if I wanted you to do a nice slow roll up sit up and you don't have any pliability in your spine, it's going to be really difficult. Because now, not only am I asking you to flex your spine, but I'm asking you to flex against gravity. So from here, I am peeling slowly. The spine is folding. I'm using my abdominals to bring me up to the floor. And the same thing on the way down, tucking through that tailbone, peeling that spine down onto the floor, experiencing spinal flexion. Okay. So the important thing is for you to understand the difference between flexing and hinging. As I've said, both are extremely important. The spine is more than capable of both. The spine is able to load through both. Maybe not your spine, maybe not right now. That is completely unique to you. But what is important is that you understand, am I in a hip hinge movement or am I rounding through my spine? Because movements like squats are hip hinge. If they were to become rounding through the spine, all of a sudden we're blocking out big muscle groups, we're losing a lot of power, and we're compromising our form. So really important that you understand the difference. I hope that this video has helped.